Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to SAFRL, welcome to Tier 2. It's Wednesday night, and it's time for some more Las Vegas. Seems like the stream is having one or two issues this evening, so if you are watching, I'm just going to ask you to make things easier for yourself. Maybe just rewind 1 or 2 minutes so that you can escape any possible buffering. Remember, no qualifying session. It's a sprint race. So we have a reverse grid order of the championship standings. And then this race will go on to determine the grid for the feature race. Rockstar leads the way, Spikes P2, Tiley Boy P3. Remember, some of the quickest drivers are going to be right at the rear of the field. Ooh, and that's... I wasn't sure if I should comment on that or if that was the internet, but that was a big one. And we got it in full view. We've now got a caution and we might very well get something more. Just the yellow flag for now. As you can see, the entire track is yellow, so I was going to say hopefully we don't, but there we go. We've got a safety car in the sprint race early on in lap 1, means we're down to just the 7 runners. Means everybody who finishes the sprint race will get points. I am trying to fix the lag. There's not much I can do on my side right now. Once the stream has started, a lot of the settings are like set in and you can't change them while you're on stream. I am trying. So we're still under safety car conditions. Rockstar leads the way, Spikes P2. So remember now, what this safety car potentially does is there's only 9 laps in this race. So guys at the bottom of the championship, they would have started at the front and they would have expected to drop down the field, but now they're going to have less laps out front that they need to defend. That chance of victory will be on their mind. Look at that, a lot of cars have come into the pits. They've changed from the medium, they've gone onto the soft. So drivers were looking to do the sprint distance on the medium, but you can see a whole bunch of drivers have come and changed their minds. They're going on the softs. And the 3 drivers out front that held on to track position, they're going to have a very difficult time on those mediums. You're only going to have to do 6 or 7 laps on those softs. You can absolutely throw everything at them. No need for tire management. Welcome Tian, Andre, Death Queen, Panda. We have quite a few viewers. If you've just joined us, well, you haven't missed much. All you missed was a crash involving 2 cars, both of them retiring on lap 1, and it triggered a safety car. What it has done is it's shaken up the race a little bit, because a few drivers chose to come in for a new set of softs. Your top 3 decided to stay out and hold on to track position. But if they were having a difficult time holding on to the position in those first few corners, they're going to have a much more difficult time now, because all those cars at the back, not only are they the quick drivers, they're also the drivers on softs. We have had this streaming issue in the past, but I do assure you, if you want to have a look at the footage later on in the week or later after the race, it seems like when you rewatch it, that footage is fine. So I'm not sure if it's on the upload. Did a race on Monday, did a race on Tuesday, they were both fine. But tonight, just have a few yellow warning signals on my screen. Really some predictions coming in. Remember, the three at the front, they're going to have mediums at this restart. Those softs, they're going to come up to temperature quicker than the mediums. They're going to have superior grip, superior traction. But also remember that the guys on mediums, those mediums are practically new. They did half a lap with them at racing speed. The rest of the time they've been following the safety car around. So there is a chance. There's two very long, overpowered DRS zones on this circuit. Further back in the field we have Andres. He makes up the field. He's in P7. That's right, being last means you're in P7. Safety car will be in this lap. Just got confirmation of that. So Rockstar can start to concentrate on his restart. Spikes needs to keep his eyes on that Red Bull, doesn't want him to get the jump. Remember, getting a jump at this restart could be so important. There's not a lot of laps to go. Start lap 4 of 9. It's going to be a 5-lap sprint. Spike's getting close on the restart, so the Red Bull definitely didn't get a jump on anyone. Now Maggot challenging the Aston Martin. So much action wheel to wheel, so little cars on track. At least we can see the entire field in one frame. You don't see that every day. Ooh, and there appears, is that a Red Bull ghosting? Let's go to that Red Bull. Doesn't appear to be ghosting now, but he definitely did a while ago. Rockstar leads the way, Maggot P2. We have Chums P3, Spikes just outside the podium positions, Boinky's P5. And look at this, it's madness. I don't even know what to commentate on. I think I saw some carbon fiber flying off at the back there. It was definitely some carbon fiber, and Rockstar falling to the back of the field. I think that was his carbon fiber. Wonder if there was a second car involved that is also damaged. No signs of that at the moment. Just Rockstar that fell to the rear of the grid. Maggot leads the way. He looks to have this under control at the moment. Chums P2. Remember, the DRS zones on this track, they're so powerful. All you need to do is stay within that second. You're almost guaranteed of getting past. Spike's P3, Boinky's P4. There's only 7 drivers in the field and they're so close together that anything can happen. And as I say, it's Spikes. Thought he was going to be out of the race, but still got all 4 wheels on that car and he's able to get things going again, so the caution will disappear. But Spikes will be disappointed with that. As he's regaining momentum, he'll find himself in P6. This Maggot leads the way from Chums, and now he's just crucially opened it up past the 1 second gap. That's going to make things a lot more difficult for the man in P2. Boinky's in P3. Now all these gaps have actually formed in a very small field. Thought we'd have a bit of a closer 5-lap race. The guys are spreading out. Things look crazy in the beginning. Another important factor to remember about the sprint race is if you retire, well, you start the feature race last. So if you are one of the quicker drivers, you don't want to get involved in a battle that makes you start at the rear of the grid. Maggot sets the fastest lap of the race, then Boinkies takes it away from him immediately. There's lots of gaps in the field, no battles to speak of. This is not what you expect from a sprint race. Maggot leads from Chums P2, Boinkies P3, Andries. And we have the Williams of Skull. I think that was a bit of a lock-up, lots of smoke there. Spikes, over 7 seconds behind in P6. And then Victory Star, we saw him have that incident. He obviously started from pole. But he'll still pick up 2 points if he's able to finish there. As for Maggot, he wants to go for the full 8. Chums can sort of keep that gap at 1.2 seconds, but he can't bring it below the 1 second mark. Okay, well, all the yellow warnings on my screen have disappeared, so I hope things are looking smooth at home. Still Maggot, Chums, and then Boinkies in P3. Andries P4, Skull P5, Spikes P6. As you can see by the lobby numbers, they are to be expected. We have a new game coming out not so long from now. And a lot of the quicker guys, they have turned their attention to that game. But I'm almost certain that when we do switch over to that game, lobbies will be full again. Order remains the same. There's been no overtaking since those incidents where Rockstar went backwards in the field and then Spikes, we saw him go sideways. He was able to keep things going. We haven't seen any other position changes since then. Maggot at the front, 1.2 seconds. He's just been able to hover that gap. It hasn't grown. Crucially, doesn't fall into DRS. So Chums isn't really able to attack him. Boinky's also outside of DRS. Well, as is everyone on circuit, except for Skull. There we go, we do have a DRS battle. It's Skull versus Andries, Williams versus Ferrari. Two of the most victorious teams in Formula 1. Williams having an incredible track record. Team that dominated the 90s. If you think Red Bull domination is bad, go have a look at Williams in 1993. They could finish races ahead of their nearest competitor by almost a minute. And there were some races where they lapped the entire field, well, all except for Ayrton Senna. He was the only car on the lead lap with those Williams. See, if you haven't seen it after the race, go look on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is you use, go have a look at the new McLaren livery for Monaco. Fantastic livery. I think it's probably my favorite special livery that I've ever seen on any car. Great tribute to Ayrton Senna. On the streets of Monaco, obviously a place he won many times, a track he loved. As for tonight, Boinkies coming back late, challenging Chums. He's going to have the outside now. He's going to be the bravest. Chums just hugging that wall on the inside, trying to stay in front. But unfortunately now for him, not only is the AlphaTauri in front, the AlphaTauri got a little bit of assistance from DRS as well, because he was behind when they went over the DRS line and he was in front by the time it was time to activate DRS. So he got the pass and then he got the boost. Maggot, Boinkies, Chums, those are your top three. Then Andries P4, Skull P5. Williams was a little closer to the Ferrari. Now they're starting to spread apart. Remember, we just have these 7 runners, but we should be back up to 9 for the feature race. For 2 very early retirements. This Maggot on the final lap, just looking to finish things off. He doesn't have too far to go. Just got a sweeping left-hander and he'll be on his way. That's all you need. Maggot takes the victory in the sprint race. Boinkies over the line in P2, followed closely by Chums for Mercedes, P3. Then Andries P4. We wait for Skull. There he is. Oh, looking a bit crazy. Then the Aston Martin and Victory Star. Or Rockstar. That name confuses me. Just needs to get around the circuit. He was almost a lap behind. If he had been a lap behind, he wouldn't have had to do this lap. It's the only benefit of being a lap behind, and take it from a slow driver. Sometimes you don't even want to do those last laps. So when you realize you don't have to, it's the one benefit. Coming from someone who's been lapped too many times. So obviously everybody in the field is going to pick up points. The top 8 pick up points in the sprint race. So only 7 drivers remain. Everyone will collect some points from this race, but more importantly, this will set the order for the feature race. Think of it as a crazy qualifying session. So there are your sprint race / qualifying results. Maggot wins the sprint race. He will start from P1 in the feature race. Then Boinkies P2, Chums P3, Andries P4, Skull P5. We have Spikes in 6, and Rockstar making up the field in P7. We had retirements from Tylee Boy and Rockwell very early on. Of course, now we're going to look at the pit lane for at least 30 seconds. This is while the guys decide on their tyre strategy, what tyre they're going to start on. Are they banking on safety cars? Do they underfuel? Don't they underfuel? There's a lot of decisions to be made. Obviously the setup is locked in. There's nothing you can do about that. That is a rule I'm interested to see how the new game F124 is going to handle, because obviously in the rules this year that has changed. Parc Fermé does now open up between the sprint race and the feature. 5 red lights. They're about to go out. And off we go. Maggot will lead the way from Boinkies. That's going to be the battle into turn 1. Alpine versus AlphaTauri. Ooh, and we've already got a car sideways. We've got a... Doesn't seem to be crashed. Hopefully it's not a safety car. Ferrari's back underway. But Andres, the unfortunate driver on the inside close to the wall, didn't have anywhere to go. We didn't see what started that incident. Now Rakwa and Rockstar fighting for P7. Rakwa, a quick driver, he'll be eager to get up the field. Had an early retirement. Have a very broken Mercedes. Saw him go over the chicane, and now we notice he has no front wing. The Tily boy is going backwards. He retired from the sprint race. He's had early damage in the feature race. This is Rakwa still in P8. And Andres just trying to recover. Let's have another look at that Ferrari, see if it has any damage. No, it's a little bit too quick, but it doesn't look like it. I think he's pretty lucky to go into the wall the way he did and not break anything. Maggot, the end of lap 1, leads the way. Boinky's not far behind, just half a second. Tian saying potentially 2 safety cars. Of course, Abu Dhabi known for its safety cars, especially a certain safety car. But safety cars are very common around this circuit. We do have 9 drivers, so I don't think there's going to be as much wheel-to-wheel action as we usually get. But driver error is still a big possibility. So there we go, there's your strategies. Sometimes they don't make much sense to me. I don't trust them too much. Just bring up your tyre screen so you can see who started on what and what they may be planning. Maggot, your leader, he's on the medium. Boinky's P2, he's on the soft. It's actually fallen out of DRS range since the last time we had a look at the gap. Then Chums, P3, also on a set of mediums, so we have a bit of a mismatch there in the top 3. Everybody trying something different. Then the next 2 cars down the line trying something very different. P4, P5, Skull and Spikes. They're both on the hard tyre, so they're going to be going long into this race. Further than the other competitors. Rakwa on mediums, Andres on mediums, Rockstar on mediums, and then Tily Boy at the rear of the field, trying to make up some of that time. He selected to go with a set of softs. I'd like 5 or 6 likes on that previous video that I had to stop, so make sure to like this video. It's not the same video, I had to make a new one. I'll delete the previous one because you guys would have just been looking at a lobby screen, so you wouldn't be missing anything. So don't forget to leave a like. I know Skull always leaves a like, so he hasn't left a like because, well, there he is. He's in P4. He's chasing down a Mercedes. Mercedes of Chums. Sometimes as a commentator you've got to remember you can't say everything that comes to mind. Unfortunately I'm a Red Bull fan. I've been a Red Bull fan for a long time, and I went through the pain and the torture of the Mercedes era, so every time I see a Mercedes on track I want to say something nasty, and then I got to remind myself I may have viewers that are Mercedes fans, and Mercedes fans can get very mad. We have our first safety car of the evening. We actually had Tian just predict 2 safety cars for the race. Well, there's the first one. It'll be interesting to see if this affects anybody's strategy, or if this safety car is too early. Will people utilize it, make a pit stop? Maybe they've decided that that tyre they started on isn't the tyre they want to be on anymore. This is the opportunity to change that. Remember, every time we get a safety car in this race, we have a very different situation to what we usually have. Obviously, in a normal race where you have a bigger field, if you go into the pits and join at the rear of the field, you've got a very tough job ahead of you. You've got a lot of cars to pass. Really, wherever you are in the field right now, if you were to pit and fall to the rear of the field, you need to make 6 or 7 overtakes. So we might see guys deal with these safety cars differently. Some will hold on to track positions, some will come into the pits. No surprise the Williams stays out. The Williams is on a set of hard tyres, as is Spike's. So the Williams and the Aston Martin, they're on hard tyres. They're going to stay out. They're going to hold on to track position. Boinkies is holding on to track position, because those softs on his car are only 4 laps old. It's a little too late to pit now. If he does pit now, he will fall to the rear of the field. If he stays out, well, those softs are going to be the first compound to fall off, and he's at the front. So he's going to have a tough job of staying there. So just getting a little glimpse there of the Las Vegas sphere. Here's a fun fact about the sphere. The cost of the sphere, you could build 10 soccer cities. Our most expensive stadium for the FIFA World Cup. And they just decided to use it for advertising in Vegas. Why not? Apparently it's a lot more impressive from the inside. Everything those screens can do on the outside of the dome, they can do on the inside of the dome. So it turns into this full visual surround cinema. This is what we have to talk about. We have to talk about Vegas because there's nothing much going on. Everyone's out on track, following each other, line astern. We're behind the safety car. We had a safety car in the sprint race. That was very early on. Now we've had another in the feature race. See the feature race a lot longer, so could very well have another. We're down to 8 cars from the 9 that started. Andres, the retirement. Had some bad luck in turn 1. Tried to have a recovery drive and obviously didn't go his way. So no points for him in this feature race. Everybody else out on track has a good opportunity for some really good points this evening. Finish the championship off on a high. Hopefully I've updated my team championships. I'm not sure if I did, but let's have a look. Here we go, team championships. AlphaTauri leads the way from Alpine. It's a pretty big lead there at the front. And then the more important one, the Drivers' Championship. Oh, look at that, SAFRL's in the way. So Andries leads that championship, 71 points. Maggot in P2, 64 points. And Rockwell, 58. Wanky's not far behind either, 56, 50, 50. This is incredibly close. But you'll see that some of those names, they're not here tonight. And if I haven't mentioned it, this is the penultimate round. Next week, do it one last time. And we go to where all finales just feel right. We go to Abu Dhabi next week. Tier 1 Monday, Tier 2 Wednesday. Wanky's out front. He's going to lead this restart. Now the car out front's got the soft tyre. Remember, Skull and Spikes in P2 and 3, they chose to stay and keep track position because they've got those hard tyres. They want to go deep into the race. Your leader, on the other hand, he's got a very different thing going. He's on a set of softs, and I believe it's the set of softs he started the race on. So those will be the first tyres to fall off. Everybody else behind him. We've got a full caution right around the circuit. Is there anyone we see dropping through the field? Doesn't appear to be the case. Hopefully this caution will disappear as quickly as it appeared. Logic wanting a close race to the finish line next week. That's what everyone wants to see. And hopefully in Abu Dhabi not decided by safety car. Want that championship finale to come down to the guys' raw pace. Just wheel to wheel action. Fighting throughout and to the start finish line, that would be the optimal. Of course, we're under safety car. We didn't get much done at the restart. We had about half a lap. Now we're under safety car yet again. Unfortunately, when there's nothing to commentate on, I occasionally ramble. Some penalties now popping up on our screens. That one was for Rockstar, Rockwell and Tylee Boy. They are in the pits, obviously having a change of heart about their strategy. These cars have actually been in the pits for a while. There we go, Tylee Boy emerges, and so does the horse. So they'll know that they can basically get away with those pit stops. They just have to join at the back of the queue, and the queue is not a long one. Actually, the Las Vegas Grand Prix actually was a thing before it got on the calendar last year. Happened many years ago, and it was a terrible, terrible experiment and a terrible event. Race organisers doing repairs to the circuit 15 minutes prior to the start of the race. Actual chunks of tarmac coming out of the racetrack. And that's because the racetrack wasn't a racetrack. It was the Caesars Palace parking lot. And no, they didn't resurface the part they were racing on. They just raced on the parking lot as it was. So if it was bumpy, well, good luck. Just following the safety car as we have many times. Tian, you may have to adjust your prediction. Tian gave me a prediction a little earlier on about safety cars, and he said 2 potential safety cars in the race. We are on that second safety car, and it's only lap 8 of 25, so we'll be see more. See more and more viewers joining. Luckily for the viewers, they haven't missed too much. Spent a lot of time behind the safety car in this race. It's only lap 9, and this is the second safety car. What it does is it also mixes up the commentator every time I'm trying to understand what strategy these guys are on. There's a safety car, they come in, they change tires, they pit, they join at the back. But Skull, he has chosen to stay out throughout. He's got those 8-lap old hards, obviously looking to take them deep into the race. Maybe finish on a set of mediums. If he really stretches them, maybe finish on a set of softs. We'll find out as the night progresses, but currently he is in the lead, and when the safety car comes in, he's going to have the responsibility of that restart. Spikes P2. Saw that Aston Martin and Williams getting pretty close earlier on in the race. Should be an interesting restart, and then just behind them, we've got a driver who's very hungry for victory. Won the sprint race not so long ago. He wants to do a double. We have the 2 Mercedes, which I think may be the only teammates on the grid. I think everybody else is missing a teammate. The only 2 teammates on the grid, Chums and Tylee Boy. They run line astern, P4 and 5. And they're followed by another championship contender, but he needs a good result. It's a really good result tonight. Rockstar 7 and Rockwell making up the field. Here we go, folks. Skull at the restart. Nice restart. Should have the lead into turn 1. Aston Martin's not going to be able to come at him from here. Just getting a bit of jumping there. Here's your top 3. Williams, followed by Aston Martin, followed by Alpine, and we know that Alpine is quick. The longer they can keep him behind, the better it is for them, because once he gets in front, they're going to have a really tough time staying with him, if that sprint race pace is anything to go by. Chums, Tylee Boy, they stay P4 and 5, still line astern. Then Boinkies needs a good result, he's down in P6. And Rockstar and Rockwell still 7 and 8. Not a lot of position changes at the restart. As I say that, I noticed that Maggot has gotten his way up into P2. He's got one more target in front of him, and that's Skull. They're both on the hard compound, but crucially Maggot's got a much fresher... No, he doesn't. Are those the same? No, they're not the same. His tires are 4 laps fresher. That may be crucial. Of course, when Skull's tires do start to go off, Maggot will still have a lot of life in his, and he spent some of those laps behind the safety car. Of course, there was a time in Formula 1 where if you had this many safety cars and you could make your tyre last to the very end of the race. Well, it didn't happen very often, but I have seen drivers do a no pit stop strategy. Of course, that is no longer possible. The mandatory stop is not the rule. The rule is that you have to use 2 compounds. Skull leads the way. He's doing a good job of keeping the Alpine behind him, but the Alpine's getting closer and closer, just half a second between the two now. Another 2 cars making up ground, P3, P4, the 2 Mercedes working as a team coming through the field. I think they heard me say nasty things about Mercedes, and now they want to prove a point. Well, technically I didn't say anything nasty, I stopped myself from saying anything nasty. Boinky's making up some positions. He's now up into P5. His next target will be the 2 Mercedes. Maggot all over the back of the Williams. You can't even see Maggot. That's how close he is to the Williams, but the Williams doesn't give up the position. For how much longer can he stay in front? He's going to get DRS again, and this time he's right on the gearbox of that car, just 0.2 of a second. I think even with battery, it's going to be very difficult to do anything about this. They go side by side in that final corner, if you can call it a corner. And the Alpine gets the inside line, gets the car stopped, and gets himself into the lead. Skull now in P2. Of course, he is on a slightly different strategy, because remember, he is on the same set of tires he started the race on. It's pretty unique in that way. Only Skull and Spikes are still on the same tire, and now we've had another incident. We've got a caution, but that Mercedes is moving, so luckily for us it's disappeared and we're back underway. This Mercedes were running close. Chums will be disappointed with that. Real up and down race for some of these drivers. That's why you want to be out front in clean air by yourself. Then you don't have to worry about any shenanigans. You just have to worry about your own driving. Don't make any mistakes. Get to the end of the race. Hopefully the rest of the field isn't going to make it that easy. Of course, regardless of what gap you build up, if another safety car comes out, all of that is cancelled. I think with a field this small, a very late safety car could make things very interesting. I think we could use a late safety car specialist. You need, like, does anybody know of a Latifi in this field? I think they're all pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't have a Latifi, but if we did, safety car guaranteed. Of course, if you're wondering what happened to Nicholas Latifi and what he's racing these days, he's not racing anything these days. He has retired from racing and he's gone to university to study business. I think something tells me his billionaire dad was like, if this doesn't work out, you're going to college. And that's exactly what happened. Maggot leads as he did in the sprint race. What we saw in the sprint race was he wasn't really able to extend that gap that much. We saw the gap hovering between 1.2, 1.5 seconds. But now Skull eventually finds his way to the pit entry. He's going to get rid of those hards. We've seen him squirming once or twice. He's just going to have 11 laps to go, so surely he's going to jump onto the medium. I think the soft would be a bit of a stretch. Let's see what goes onto that Williams. It is a set of mediums. Now for the second stint of the race, he's going to have mediums that will very easily get to the end of the race. So he should be able to lean on those tyres. He should be able to attack. And with all the cars in front of him having slightly older tyres and even harder compounds, he might still be able to make up a few positions before this is over. He's currently in P6. That's where he emerged. At the front though, Maggot's all alone, Tylee Boy in P2 all alone, and Boinky's all alone in P3. So no battles in the top 3. Chums P4, Rockwell P5, and then Skull in P6, 9 seconds adrift of the next driver. That's as a result of a recent pit stop. And with safety cars coming out so often, these gaps stay close together, and if your strategy is to go on the hard compound and go as deep into the race as you possibly can, well then early safety cars, and especially multiple early safety cars, they work against the guys on the hard tyre the worst. Really messes up your strategy. Got another retirement. And Tian, you did not update your prediction. So, if that was a bet, you lost. Tian predicted 2 safety cars. We're up to a 3rd safety car. And there's carbon fiber flying around the circuit too. Hopefully that's not Rockwell. I think he might have just driven over some carbon fiber, but we definitely saw some. And the safety car. Hopefully the safety car also visited the pits to top up on some fuel, because he's getting some serious mileage this evening. Safety car driver will be very well rehearsed in the Las Vegas layout by the end of this evening. Death Queen's just laughing at me at this stage. That's what happens when the safety car comes out too many times. I start to ramble. Some people will find it entertaining, others will find it quite the head scratcher. 2 retirements as we had in the sprint race. Remember, we finished the sprint race with 7 runners. We're down to 7 runners in this feature race. Still have 10 laps to go in the race. So hopefully no more retirements than that. We're under safety car. This will bring the field back together. We saw a lot of cars spreading apart. This will bring all of that field back together, and as you can see, a lot of them, in fact all of them, Maggot, Boinkies, Chums, Rockwell. What does Skull do? Skull put on a new set of tyres on the previous lap, so that means he's going to stay out. He's going to stay out and hold on to track position. Same thing he did on the hard tyre. Unfortunately for him, he just needed to be a little bit further up the track. He could have come out in the lead. Going to come out in P3 at the restart. Unfortunately for him, the 2 cars in front of him, they've got the soft compound, brand new soft compound, and the 2 cars behind him, same story, brand new softs. So he's going to have to do a lot of defending. Logic doing study brakes under safety car conditions. Probably not the most optimal way to study. But when it comes to studying, you wouldn't want to take any advice from me. So the restart will be Maggot, Boinkies and Skull, followed by Chums. Remember, Chums was riding with his teammate not so long ago, P3, P4, then Chums got involved in an incident, fell to the rear of the field. We had another safety car. Now his teammate is the car that's retired, and Chums is back where he was. He's back in P4. Multiple safety cars on a street circuit. And yes, it is a street circuit. This doesn't look a lot like Monaco, does it? Of course, that is our next venue for F1. This weekend we head to Monte Carlo. And even as a Red Bull fan, every time we go to Monte Carlo, I kind of wish Leclerc would win it. Fitting in the study time whenever you can. So why not on a race with this many safety cars? I have commentated in other leagues before that had a formation lap as part of their rules, and lots of times cars would mess up on that formation lap. So I would suggest a race like this. Multiple safety cars, cars just have to drive around slowly. They're not able to overtake, they can't hit each other. This is good practice for formation laps. The purpose of round 7, season 7 is to practice your formation laps. I'm sure that's what everybody thinks of when they think of spending some track time on this game. Of course, we will be back tomorrow night, remember. Saudi Arabia on this channel. DRS is the league in question. Safety car is now deactivated and we should be underway shortly. This is your leader, Maggot in the Alpine. Then we have Boinkies in the AlphaTauri. Both of those cars on softs, crucially. The next car a little bit out of sync. And the Skull lap put 2 laps earlier. So he's got relatively fresh tyres. How much longer will he be able to hold the soft runners behind him? He's got to worry about the 2 soft runners ahead of him not being able to run up the road. And he's also got to worry about the 2 soft runners behind him not getting too aggressive. Further down, Raqqa P5, Spikes P6, and the Aston Martin. Rockstar opening up the field, obviously points on offer for everybody who finishes the race. What it has done is it's closed up these gaps again for us. Gives us a chance of some more potential battles. The field was really starting to spread out. We do have a DRS battle. It's Chums versus Skull. I don't think DRS is active yet, but they are within a second. Everybody else already spreading out pretty early. Spikes getting close to the back of the horse. Don't know if anyone's going to make a move yet or if they're going to wait for DRS. Don't think the Aston Martin's close enough this time around to think about anything. Gap at the front, still within a second. Crucial. Boinkies, fastest lap of the race. That's what you need to be doing at this stage of the race. You need to keep him within a second, and you need to be going purple lap after lap for as long as you can. Can't let that Alpine disappear off into the distance. They saw what happened in the sprint race. Hopefully everyone's learnt from that. Skull still doing a fantastic job. He's holding on to P3. Thought these soft runners were going to be coming at him, but he's still holding on to it. Chums now is getting a little closer to that Williams, so he will have one eye on his mirrors. Rockwell still P5, Spikes P6. Rockstar, I want to say at the back, but it's just not right. He's in P7. He's in P7. If I was in 7th and somebody, commentator, kept on telling me I was in last, I wouldn't appreciate it. So, sorry Rockstar, you're not in last, you're in P7. Maggot leads from Boinkies. Skull still P3, still holding on to that position. Saw in the previous lap the Mercedes was looking like it was getting really close. I wonder if Chums made some sort of an error. So that Williams now just has some breathing space. It's actually broken out of DRS with that Mercedes. So with only 5 laps to go, strong performance on the cards for the Williams. Boinkies still keeping it within the second, so crucial. I've said it before and I'll say it again, what that DRS is able to do. If the driver ahead of you has a 2 or 3 tenths advantage over you every single lap, without DRS, over time he'll just get further and further away. With DRS, the car behind can actually match the faster car due to that little bonus. So staying within the second, you'll just get towed around. You're under a yellow flag. That gap has increased to 1.4 seconds. We're no longer under a yellow flag, and logic, you can go back to studying. That is a lot of safety cars. Commentary even went silent for a while there. It sounded like endurance racing when the commentators just walk out of the comms box for half an hour at a time. Maggot is going to lead at another restart. So many this evening. I believe this is the 4th safety car of the feature race. We had 1 safety car in the sprint race, so 5 for the evening. Luckily, by the time this safety car is over, there won't be enough time for another. So this will be the final safety car of the evening. And that Mercedes, it's putting on the mileage. In fact, I have a customer who has a little bit too much money, so he decided he was going to buy one of those. He bought that exact model, the safety car model, and he sold it after 3 months. And when I asked him why, he gave me the dumbest reason I've ever heard. He sold the Mercedes because people kept on taking pictures of it. If you don't want people to take a picture of your car, don't buy a car that looks like that. When you want to speak about crazy, he definitely falls under that category. Same person I'm speaking about once rolled an M5, went and bought a new M5 in the same color so that he wouldn't have to tell his parents he crashed. The insurance did not pay out because he was doing 230 in an 80 zone. Sure, a lot of these cars wish they were doing 230 or 330. They're going around at a nice cruising speed for a Formula 1 car of 200 kilometers an hour. So crazy to think that 200 kilometers an hour in a road car feels pretty intense. And in a Formula 1 car, you're shouting on the radio, telling the safety car to hurry up. Of course, if you do like a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of history, we do now have on the channel, it's available on the channel, the last South African Grand Prix that ever happened in 1993. We have the full race with commentary from Murray Walker and James Hunt, and it's on this channel if you ever want to have a look. Go have a look. It's a fantastic race. Obviously 93 was a very interesting season because Ayrton Senna almost pulled out. See, the dominant McLaren Honda in that era, Honda decided to pull out of Formula 1 during the Formula 1 break. McLaren had been designed with the Honda in mind, so a massive redesign had to be done and an engine supplier needed to be found. Eventually they got things right just in time, but Ayrton Senna wasn't too happy about the Ford engine, so he refused to sign an extension deal for 1993 and instead, to my knowledge, became the only driver in Formula 1 to have a race-to-race contract in 1993. By today's standards, the salary wasn't that much, but at the time, insane. Boinkies at the restart, Skull P2, Maggot P3. Maggot was in the lead, he's going to be looking to come back. The Williams runs wide and Maggot takes that position, no issues there. Rockwell up into P4, he spent a lot of time in P5, so he's now made up a position in that safety car. Now Spike's P5, Rockstar's made up another position, he's now up into P6 due to that retirement. Said earlier the Mercedes were the only cars to have a teammate in this race. Unfortunately, both Mercedes have fallen out of the race, as has the Ferrari. We have an AlphaTauri leading the race from an Alpine. Skull in P3. He'll be able to, he'll know that those cars are on softs. Needs to use his battery very wisely. Last thing he wants to do is find himself on the last lap with those cars on his gearbox in DRS. It's difficult enough to defend, but without battery it makes it simply impossible. Maggot getting close, goes up the inside. Oof, terrible jumping there. Now Boinkies, will he be able to come back immediately? He doesn't. Just stays behind the Alpine for now. Surely he will come back. Wenke is not known for accepting second place. It's one of those drivers you know is going to take it to the end. It's definitely one of those drivers that if he is losing time, you know it's just a pace thing. The driver in front is just faster. It's definitely not because he's not trying. One of those drivers that commits to the end of the race. Rakwa gets past Skull. Skull went slightly off track there. And Rakwa is able to take P3. So now your new podium sitters, Maggot, Boinkies, Rakwa. Just a reminder, as the race ends, I have to mute the game sound because well, F1 likes to copyright the tiny bit of F1 music that appears in the official standings on their own game. Probably the tightest little sequence of corners on the whole track there. We just saw Skull go through them. Only part of the track where the track feels a little narrow. Another thing making Vegas unique is it's a Saturday race, technically. Fortunately for us here in South Africa, we watch it on a Sunday morning. If I'm not mistaken, if you are in a Australian time zone, the only time you get to watch the races at a decent hour are in Australia or in Vegas. Difference in time between the US and Australia really works out for them. Maggot at the front, Boinkies P2, Rakwa P3. No real battles on the track at the moment. We do have a Williams getting pretty close to a Haas. He's going to come back at him. Yes, he is. He's going to come back at him. He's got the DRS. Made the most of it. And Skull is able to steal a podium spot. This is Mango just finishing off the last stages of the final lap. We finally arrived here after 4 safety cars. And Maggot does what we all thought he'd do. He did it in the sprint race. He's done it again. And he's taken the victory. Boinkies P2, Skull over the line in P3. Nice job stealing the podium right at the end there. Rakwa finishes P4, Spikes P5. And Rockstar, we see him go over the line to make up the field. I think that's the quickest I've ever read through the entire field. Skull gets driver of the day. Strong performance today from the Williams driver, finishing in P3. So if you can't hear the game, that is on purpose. So let's just get the correct results up. There we go. So results for your feature race. Maggot takes the victory. Boinkies P2. Good result there by Skull. P3 also gets driver of the day. Then Rakwa, he was almost on the podium. Got it stolen from him on the last lap. Spikes P5. And Victory Star, Rockstar, the last man to finish. Finished in P6. We had 3 DNFs, Chums and Tiley Boy, the 2 Mercedes, and Andres in the only Ferrari. There we go, folks. That was Las Vegas. That was round 7 of season 7 SAFRL. We've got 1 round to go. That'll be next week on Monday, Tier 1, Wednesday, Tier 2. Of course, we will be back tomorrow though. Going to be back in Saudi Arabia for DRS, and then we return again on Sunday night for SKR. And I think I do need a bit of a break. It's now been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and you guys probably also need a bit of a break. So I will see you all when I see you. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night. If not, I'll see you when you tune in again. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the commentary. Hope you enjoyed the safety cars. And until next time, cheers.